What's up, movie lovers? Thanks for clicking on my channel. Released in 2019, Rocketman stars Taron Egerton as Elton John and is a musical drama that tells the story of Elton John's rise and turbulent personal life throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Starting right off the bat, Taron Egerton absolutely crushes it as Elton John. He is amazing in this film, and the fact that he didn't win an Academy Award and wasn't even nominated is absolutely mind-boggling. Had this movie been released in November or December instead of May of that year, he probably would have been nominated and probably would have won Best Actor. And I know there's a lot of stiff competition that year, but he would have deserved it. Not only does he capture all the emotional highs and lows of Elton John and change his mannerisms in a way that after a while you really do feel like you're watching Elton John, but he also does his own renditions of all the songs, and he has a really good voice. He's a really solid musician. I mean, the dude sacrificed his hairline for the role, and he's also not afraid to go all out with the romance scene. So yeah, Taron Egerton absolutely crushes it. He's one of the best parts of this movie, and that's really saying something because the movie all around is absolutely fantastic. And one of the themes that I love about this movie is that it really hammers home the point that all the money and success in the world doesn't really mean anything if you still feel as though that you're not worthy of being loved. I feel like far too often in our society we will kind of idolize people who have made it big and think that their lives must just be absolutely perfect, but if you're lonely, if you're depressed, if you have a mom and dad who made you feel like an absolute scumbag for just being you, if you are in an abusive relationship, or no matter how many times you try to put yourself out there, you're always rejected and you feel as though you're not worthy of love, all of the money in the world isn't going to fix that. And that is a large part of the central conflict of Rocketman. Elton John coming to terms with himself and adopting healthier patterns of living and not taking out what was given to him on himself with drugs and sex and all of that. Something else that this movie captures really well, and better than any other movie I've seen that I can think of off the top of my head, is how amazing it is to discover music when you're young and how much that just changes your entire life. There's so many things in the early part of this movie that I can relate to on a really personal level, like tapping out things that you had learned if you had a piano lesson or a guitar lesson, tapping out rhythms at the dinner table. The scene where Elton John meets Bernie and they just start nerding out over songs they like. I have actually lived that scene with one of my best friends when we were both kids. Another thing that this movie captures really, really well is the feeling of performing live. It's this funny feeling where like time stands still, but at the same time you feel like it's going by super fast, but that's fine because in that moment you were just so at peace with everything and you feel as though like you're finally just doing what you were meant to do, and it is the best feeling in the world. The scene in this movie where Elton John plays at the Troubadour and he's finally like breaking into America captures it incredibly well. Because lots of times we get movies and when they're dealing with rock stars, it's either absolutely cliche and just not real at all, or we'll get a movie like Whiplash, which I feel like really didn't get the joy and the love that goes into discovering music and playing it and writing it. Rocketman finds such a great balance between the personal turmoil that Elton John's going through and the absolute passion and love for music that he has. One doesn't have to overpower the other, but they are both there at the same time. Another thing about this movie is that it is also incredibly well paced, and lots of times movies that span decades can kind of feel a little bit rushed in parts, but this movie chooses the story it wants to tell and it focuses on that, and it also has a really good framing device of Elton John being in a group therapy session recounting his life so that you never feel like you're lost. I just want to make sure I mention Gemma Jones, who plays Elton John's grandmother. She is like the one pillar of love and support he got when he was a little kid, at least the way it's portrayed in this movie, and it's not the biggest role, but she does it really well, and you really get the sense like, yeah, she wants what's best for her grandson. That's nice. The movie also has a lot of really funny moments in it that don't ever really dampen the drama. One of the funniest scenes in the movie is when Elton is recounting when he came out to his girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, she took it really well, and just smash cuts to her destroying his piano and tossing all his stuff out the window. Another small but memorable role, Stephen Graham, Al Capone himself, probably 15 minutes late for a meeting, but he plays the first guy who gives them a record deal, and there's a lot of very funny scenes where he's just trying to like get them to be the best songwriters they can be, and they're playing like songs that would go on to be massive hits, and he's like, What is that shit? No, do better. There's a lot of really great and universal themes that the movie explores, and it does it incredibly well. Themes of discovering your passion in life, keeping your inner child alive, relearning how to love yourself when you've been told that you're not good enough, and just letting go of whatever baggage or whatever bullshit that your parents or your ex or whoever gave you, and deciding like, no, I'm gonna go on and have a better life. Which is why I think it's a movie you can pretty much recommend to just about anyone. I mean, unless you're like someone who's in the Westboro Baptist Church, I'm pretty sure just about everyone will find something that they enjoy in this movie. So in conclusion, if you're asking me to rank this movie, I would say that Rocketman is without a doubt an S-tier movie. It is about as close to perfect as filmmaking can get, and the story it tells is going to resonate with a lot of people. So those are my opinions on Rocketman, but enough about me and my thoughts. What did you think of Rocketman? What do you think is the better movie, Rocketman or Bohemian Rhapsody? And who do you like better, Queen or Elton John? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, there's probably another video popping up right here where I review a movie or I talk about music. If you like any of these bands you see back here, you'll probably like my channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you at the next video.